Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to be having our next edition of Stripe Developer Office Hours. My name is Cecil Phillip, and with us, we have a few guests. Very excited today because we have more than one guest. Um, and we're going to have a lot of interesting things that we're going to be covering. So we have Jono here. Jono's going to be talking to us about training and certification. And Vibhu here at the bottom, he's going to be talking to us about Stripe Connect and also Accounts B2. Now, before we get started, Jono, why don't you do a quick introduction and let folks know a little bit about who you are and what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm on Stripe's training and certification team, and thanks so much for having us on, by the way. We generally operate the certification program, which you can find at stripe.training. But I'm here today to talk about the trainings that we're running at Sessions this year.
Awesome.
Yeah, which I'll jump into in a sec.
Awesome. Great. I actually love that URL, stripe.training. That's the perfect. You can't say that you forgot what the training link is at all.
I did the extra work to make sure it could be.
Nice. And Vibhu, why don't you go ahead and unmute and let folks know a little about who you are and what do you do?
Hi, folks. My name is Vibhu. I'm a product manager here at Stripe. I'm on the Connect team right now, and we are building out our new latest and greatest account object to represent users on Stripe called Accounts V2. So I'm really excited to get to talk to Cecil about that today and tell you all about what's queued up.
I'm really glad that you're here because people are constantly asking me about Connect, about how do I use Connect, like what do we do with Connect, and being able to see how not only how users are using it, but how we're evolving it as a product. I'm definitely excited to have this conversation with you for sure.
Super excited. Happy to talk about it.
Right. Now, before we actually do that, let's go through a quick round of announcements. There's a couple of things that have been going on in the world of Stripe, and I think we should definitely talk about it. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my screen up, and let's just kind of run through a few of these updates. So for folks that may not know, we recently announced the Stripe Agent Toolkit. Again, this is not a toolkit for writing agents, but this is a toolkit to add Stripe to some of your agentic frameworks. So if you think about things like OpenAI's Agent SDK or LangChain or Crew AI or anything of the sort, that's what this will help you do, right? It'll help you add like some of that Stripe knowledge into some of those agentic frameworks. Well, recently we just announced support for MCP, for Model Context Protocol, which everyone online is definitely talking about in the AI space. So again, if you're building agents and you want to work with Stripe, you want to bring some of that payment integration into what you're building, definitely make sure you go ahead and check out the Stripe Agents Toolkit, and it's available on GitHub, totally open source. If you head over to our developer blog is available on stripe.dev. There's a new blog post that just went out using an AWS microservice architecture for subscription management. So again, if folks are building Stripe integrations and you're using AWS, definitely recommend that you go and take a look at this one as well. Speaking about AWS, we have a new video that's available on the Stripe developers YouTube channel. This one's called Synchronizing Stripe Events in AWS Without Webhooks or Servers. Now, I'm not going to let the secret out. You definitely got to go and check it out so you can know exactly how this happens. But definitely worth checking out. Again, if you're doing serverless, if you're doing, if you're doing AWS integrations and building Stripe into your applications hosted on that platform. And last but not least, Stripe Sessions. So we're just about a month away, a little bit less than a month away. Stripe is having its, our yearly conference over in San Francisco. It's going to be on May 6th through 8th. Really excited because, well, one, John's going to be there and he's going to be doing some developer training, but we actually have an entire day also dedicated to, developer track. So we're going to be talking about some of our integrations, our APIs, some of the SDKs and things of that nature that we're releasing. So again, if you're in the area or if you haven't registered yet, definitely go ahead and check out Stripe Sessions. I hope you can join us. We'll actually be doing some live developer office hours there as well. So if you just happen to be around and kind of want to see how we do our thing, definitely please come over and check that out. Now, with that being said, I'm going to take my screen off, and John, I'm going to have you talk to us a little bit about training and certification. Why don't we just start off with like, what exactly does your team do?
Yeah, so it's valuable for, say, if a big user wants to integrate Stripe, but they don't have engineers on hand, they want to make sure that okay, if we hire a consultant, they know what they're doing. They're not going to drop the revenue on the ground. So a certification is sort of a way for us to hold up the bar on the competence of a developer or a product architect in using Stripe's features. So we've got certifications out for payments and billing, and we're working on a certification for platforms, so like Connect, and those are available for architects and developers.
That's awesome. And so is that I know some certifications, I have to go in person to like a certification place to do that. Is that something that I have to like go and sit in a classroom and do, or can I do it online? Like how do I experience these certifications? Like how do I get certified? How much do I have to pay? Like how does that work?
100%. You do not have to go in person, and you actually don't even have to do any training, because we wanted to respect the fact that like people have been using Stripe for a long time. And if you already have Stripe experience, you don't need the training. You just want to get certified. So it's all available through, again, stripe.training. And the architect certification is done through a set of like multiple choice exams that don't take too long. And then the developer certification, which I'm the team tech lead, so I'm very, very proud of them, is a hands-on coding challenge where we give you a full application that we redacted the Stripe integration from, which made the end-to-end test suite fail. You reintegrate Stripe, the test suite passes, our GitHub CI/CD pipeline checks it, and within about 3 minutes of your last commit, which passes the full test suite, you get an email saying you're certified.
Nice.
Yeah.
I actually like that, because I don't now have to come up with my own Stripe scenario. Right, to kind of plug these things in it. You kind of give me the shell, so to speak, right? Like you gave me the application, and now I just have to focus on like adding that Stripe functionality to it.
Exactly. It's a really great way to practice, which is kind of the same thing that we're going for with our training workshops this year at Sessions, which, if I can just jump into it.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like, what do you have going on at Sessions?
Yeah, so we are running 3 different workshops at Sessions this year. They're all on day 0 before Patrick's keynote. And the first one is a payments performance workshop. So it's all about keeping a healthy payment program, like getting your customers to convert more often, getting your auth rates up, keeping your fraud rates down, generally maximizing the value your business is getting through payments. And then we have 2 product implementation workshops, which I'm super excited about. So we're going to walk through full integrations for a SaaS business, and then marketplaces and platforms. So we did a training last year on developer tools, and the biggest piece of feedback we got was people saying, this was great, but I want more hands-on practice. Okay. Let me get into it. So we're really leaning into that this year. So the first half of the day, we're going to be walking through sort of an end-to-end integration, really using the Stripe Workbench, so that you can make API calls in the browser, move quickly and not get too bogged down in application development, and see a lot of the flows that a common business would use. And then in the back half of the day, we're going to give everyone sample applications built in Node, React, which have, again, everything but the Stripe integration. And you'll get a chance to properly implement a few key user flows. So the 2 workshops, the billing implementation workshop starts from sort of the basic primitives for a subscription service like good, better, best, SaaS, but we're building up to usage-based billing. So the sample application you'll build is actually an AI chatbot where you charge on a token basis. Very relevant these days. And then we're going to have a Connect implementation workshop. So the product for marketplaces and platforms like a DoorDash, a Squarespace, and that'll walk through the end-to-end flow for setting up that type of business, which there's a lot to it because it's a business that's helping other businesses. There's extra complications. And then if you saw the Sessions 24 speeches, you'll actually be familiar with the sample application. It's Pose, which is a SaaS platform for running a yoga studio.
Nice.
So it'll walk through onboarding your users, helping them collect payments, helping them manage refunds and disputes, all the shiny stuff that you need to run a business that helps other people run their business.
Nice. That sounds like a really rich day of training, right? Like,
going on.
If I show up, right, if I'm at Sessions, how do I take part in the training? Like, do I have to pre-register? Is it a part of my Sessions registration? Like, how do I get to be in the room with you and learn about all that cool stuff that you do?
100%. So it is an add-on to the Sessions ticket. So if you go to stripesessions.com and register, it'll be an option there, like get the training day. So each of these trainings are 6 hours. So sort of you do one of the three. It is a $300 add-on, but this week we are running a flash sale, $100 discount. So if you just add it into your cart, the discount will automatically be applied. So it's for now just $200.
No, nice.
And we'll have lots of engineers on hand to help with answering questions during all that hands-on coding. So it's a really well-supported day.
Nice. Vibhu, did you know that all this was going on, man? Like, did you know that there was Connect training and all that happening at sessions?
I actually didn't. And as you're talking, John, like it's I love this experience. I love how slick it is. By the end of the experience, you have to build a Stripe integration of some flavor, and then if you're successful, all the tests pass. Within 3 minutes, you get that certificate. Like what a practical application to get your certification, right? Like that should instill confidence in anybody who reaches out to somebody with a Stripe certificate. I didn't know this was happening.
Yeah, no, we wanted to make it feel really hands-on, right? Like if you're a developer, you can get certified by proving you can do it. Do the job to prove you can do the job, rather than sort of something too contrived. Like you said, Cecil, it is actually just really nice if you want to learn to use Stripe, but you don't actually have a business. We've got all that shell built out for you, like an example use case. It's framed as if you were a consultant helping someone complete their business.
Yeah, that's perfect. And so, like you said, like you have those 3 scenarios that I go through. I guess I come in and I choose one of those scenarios. Can I later on, like let's say I did the payments one and I wanted to do like the billing one or the Connect one also, right? But I can only pick one, right? Do I get to do it later, or do I only pick the one in that moment and that's it?
For now, it's just the one.
Okay.
Because it's going to be sort of on that day 0, and they'll each take the full day. But we would love to hear if people want to do more than one of them, because we haven't scheduled another live training like this yet. So far, we've been doing them at sessions, but we, if the demand is there, we have the workshops ready to go.
Awesome. Well, John, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us about training and some of the cool things that y'all are going to be doing at sessions. If you all are not registered for sessions yet, I'm pretty sure this is a good reason to register for sessions, right? If you have developers in your team, if you're thinking about using Stripe, if you're already using Stripe, but maybe haven't tried out Connect and you haven't tried out billing or some of the other features, and you'd love to be able to get like a hands-on workshop and get certified as well, like definitely think that this is more than worth it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate it. I know you got to go, so we're not going to keep you. But again, so if folks are interested, head over to sessions.stripe.com, register for Stripe sessions, and you could be a part of the training that's going to be going on day 0.
Awesome. Y'all have a good one.
All right, man. See you, bud. All right, Vibhu. It's just you and me, man.
Just you and me.
Just you and me, man. So again, when we started, you mentioned that, you work on the Connect team.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you've been working on the Connect team. We're working on this new iteration or this next evolution of Connect, which is Accounts V2. But before we even get into all of that, why don't we just start with the bare bones, right? Like what is Connect? And what's the 30-second pitch? Like what does Connect offer me as as a Stripe customer, other than the ability to like accept payments?
Yeah. So Connect is essentially Stripe's solution for SaaS platforms or marketplaces. A lot of jargony words, so breaking it down even more, it's basically to be able to distribute payments acceptance capabilities across a bunch of different accounts, right? So if you are the owner of multiple yoga studios that use your software platform, for example, right? You would use Connect so that each of those yoga studios can create an account on your platform and accept payments from their customers. That's what the Connect product is, being able to distribute that kind of payments acceptance and payouts across as many people as you can bring to your business.
Got it. So then I can imagine, let's say I had a franchise, right? I had, Cecil's Cookies, because, I like to eat cookies. And maybe I wanted to open one in
chocolate chip
cookies, right? Like what else is there to eat? if I wanted to open one in Chicago and I wanted to open one in, I don't know, maybe Toronto or in London or whatever the case is, but like I have my main headquarters, I can have, let's say, a Stripe company that represents like that main entity. And then all of those additional ones could be, I guess, connected, right? I guess is the whole point, to be connected to my main account, right? And I could, administer some type of, consistent rules and user experience. But for customers just know that like when they come to my website or, whenever they get their billing statements or whatever the case is, like it looks like it's coming from a unified location. Would that be fair to say?
That's a great description of it. That's exactly what it is. So actually, and very apropos, we call each of those franchises, we'd call them connected accounts.
Mhm.
And connect. You'll see that like all throughout our docs as well. So
Yep.
you as Cecil, you would be Cecil's cookie platform. Each of your franchises would be a connected account on your platform
Sure.
that would share very similar Stripe experiences, but Stripe is almost obfuscated from like each of those franchises' customers. They
Sure.
may not even know that Stripe is the one handling the funds flows.
Got it. So then just like we do payments, I'm sure there's support in the SDKs and our APIs for us to, one, also integrate these things, but then also do like the onboarding and identity verification. Because I'm sure with, we're talking about connecting businesses to other businesses, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm sure there's like workflows in the middle that have to happen before you actually start, collecting payments and creating products and things of that nature. So the Stripe Connect platform allows us to do like just kind of takes all of that guessing work away and just kind of handles it for us, right?
Yeah, we tell you exactly what we need in order to make all of those connected accounts or franchises functional, accepting payments. So we have everything from the surfaces that you may use to collect that KYC information, that like identity information, all the way to the systems that actually get those connected accounts, get those franchises, going, buzzing,
Sure.
being able to compliantly accept payments around the world.
Awesome. Okay. So we're here to talk about accounts V2. It's not Connect V2, but it's accounts V2. So when we talk about accounts V2, I'm guessing does accounts represent our regular Connects accounts? Like again, we talked about like that main account and those connected accounts. And then does the V2 represent an evolution of those connected accounts that we can have attached to, our Connect platform?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the accounts part represents in V2 specifically. Accounts are going to represent basically anybody who has a Stripe account. Actually, now may be a good time for me to share my screen and show a little bit of that
Yeah, sure. Go ahead,
diagram.
put your screen up.
All right.
And then while you do that, for folks that are watching, we have a bunch of folks that are tuning in right now. Go ahead and drop your questions in the chat. We'll do our best to make sure that we get them answered live. If you have any questions about Stripe Connect, any questions about accounts V2 or anything that you see Vibhu talking about, we'll go ahead and try and get those answered for you.
Cool. All right.
So
All right.
we see your screen right now. We're taking a look at Google Sheets.
Yeah, just a really quick Google slide. But essentially, in V2, an account is going to be right now a V1 customer object and a V1 account object. And this is why Connect is just, the first product that we've turned this on for. But there are other products as well that we're going to talk about that will soon get this update too.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, the account part represents a V1 customer and a V1 account. The V2 part represents the fact that you don't need two separate objects to represent, the same user that may be both a customer and an account on a Connect platform. You just have one object that represents both use cases for that one user.
Okay. So let me take a step back and like imagine this scenario. So I have a connected account, right?
Mm-hmm.
My connected account's in V1. And let's say again, Cecil's Cookies, and I have a branch in whatever country, San Francisco, right?
Sure.
Main account is in New York, right? So now that San Francisco connected account would be like that V1 account that you're showing on the left side of the screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if if that account also had a customer, like there's some person that's attached as like the owner or the person responsible for that account, right? That person now would be represented. And I don't know, let's say that person wanted to like spend money or commit some type of transaction on Stripe. That person would have a separate account for that. So now with the V2 stuff, we kind of unify everything together. So we have, the account, which is, like the merchant account, the business, the person or the thing that can send money back and forth. And then we have a new thing here that's recipient. But before we get to recipient, I think the goal here is just to say account V2 is a unification of all of those different Stripe objects that we had before, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. And the reason that we are going big on a Connect platform is that usually these connected accounts that are represented with the V1 account that can accept payments, usually they're actually also customers of the platform too,
Mhm.
because they pay some kind of SaaS fee, right? Like a monthly subscription.
Sure.
And so, but why are they two separate objects? We heard so much feedback from developers that it's so much maintenance to have two separate objects for the same user.
Mhm.
And that's why we created this one account object that can now hold these multiple representations of that same user. So your connected account that accepts payments and also pays you a SaaS fee is both a customer and a merchant in one object.
Gotcha. All right. That makes sense. So the customer and the merchant, are those are those a new version of customer and merchant, or is it the same, a V1 account customer and information we had before, but now they're just kind of tied together under V2 accounts? Does that question make sense?
I think so. Let me know if I answer it. So I think the easiest way to start to intuit this is that customer. So if you look here where it says customer buys from you,
Mhm.
this customer configuration is the analog on V2 to the V1 customer.
Gotcha. Okay.
And this V1 account, the V2 version of that is the merchant and the recipient configurations
Gotcha.
on
Gotcha.
this V2 account with some some of the fields, the field names have changed, where they sit on the account object within the API has changed. But that's maybe the most like high level way of tying V1 world and V2 world together.
Okay, gotcha. So that makes sense. So, customer is customer, but account was split into merchants. Account V1 was split into merchant and recipient, right? Could you dive into that part a little bit? Like why do we separate it? Like what's the difference between a merchant and a recipient object inside of Stripe?
Yeah, so the big difference is the way the funds flow for each of those configurations. When you add a merchant configuration onto a V2 account object, you're essentially saying that this account will be accepting payments from end customers. So let's use Cecil's cookie platform, for example. I will create a franchise on Cecil's cookie platform called Vibhu's Chip, chocolate chips only. Come on.
Mhm.
So I will accept payments from my end customers that's powered by Cecil's platform. And so I would have the merchant configuration on my account object so that I could accept things like credit card payments from people who want to buy chocolate chip cookies from Vibhu's Chips.
Mhm.
Right. The recipient configuration is now so that a connected account can receive money from the platform. So if you were to switch it up, right? Let's say that instead, when end customers buy cookies from Cecil's platform, they actually pay Cecil and not each of the connected accounts on Cecil's platform. And then Cecil
Sure.
distributes those funds to his connected accounts.
Mhm.
That's when you would add the recipient configuration so that those connected accounts can receive money from Cecil's platform.
Got it. Got it. Is there a scenario where I would not want a recipient account?
Sure, plenty. If you don't need to distribute funds to your connected accounts, then you won't need the recipient configuration.
Hmm.
If they are always going to directly accept payments from end customers, you're probably fine with just the merchant and the customer configuration.
Got it. So if the customer, right, if the real life physical human being, right, is paying the main account, right, the Cecil's Cookies account, right, But if it's not paying the main account, it's going directly to Vivo's chips
Yeah.
instead, then I don't need a recipient account. But if I have, let's say, multiple of these account V2s attached to the main account, right? And now the main account is distributing funds to these multiple accounts. For me to enable that distribution from the main account, I need to enable recipient accounts for those connected accounts.
Yeah, you need to enable the recipient configuration for those connected accounts. Cecil, you're such a quick study, man. I don't know if I've ever told you this.
I'm just trying to follow. I'm just trying to follow. I'm just trying
No,
to follow.
you're killing it. Like that's exactly what it is.
Okay. And speaking of that, we do have a question. We have a couple of questions coming in from YouTube. I'm going to pull up this one really quick. Oops.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Wait 1 second. Yeah. Did you want me to take your screen off? Because I can't really quick. Or are you?
yeah, go for it.
All right. So I'll take your screen off for 2 seconds. And now, okay. So this question is coming in from Andrew. Andrew's asking, so for each customer buying a cookie, there is a separate V2 account. So 500 customers equals 500 accounts.
That's correct.
And
The
I think
idea
that's
is,
fair, right? Because you definitely don't want to muddle your accounts all together, because you want to know who bought, what account, like what individual is responsible for this collection of transactions, right? So if
exactly.
you bought 10 and Andrew bought 20, you know what I mean? We don't want to see one account with like 30 cookies, right?
No, that's exactly it. And really, where we're taking V2 accounts is that they're going to, at some point, replace V1 customers. So back to rewinding a little bit in our conversation, a V2 account can have any number of configurations. So anybody who's buying cookies from any connected account on Cecil's platform would be a V2 account with a customer configuration. And so each of those cookie purchases are separate V2 accounts.
And then looks like Andrew has a clarifying statement. He's saying, I guess my question is more, in those 500 accounts, is the merchant in each one just pointing to one single merchant account? I would say the merchant account will be whoever's selling the cookies, right?
Yeah.
So it depends, right? Like if I have a merchant account that only sells chocolate chip, and one that only sells oatmeal raisin, and one that only sells, I don't know, lemon cookies, right? Like you'll have separate transactions flowing into those businesses. But if I have a V2 account as a customer, again, not as a merchant, as a customer, then yeah, I'll have 500 customers. You know what I mean? Because each customer buying one cookie is going to be a different customer. But in terms of the business, right, the business selling the cookie, then it just depends on what products that business is offering. So because I think I see where Andrew's getting confused, right? He's like, okay, if the business and the customer is under the same umbrella, right? Like how do we differentiate them, right? And I think like what Vibhu was saying, and Vibhu, I'm going to bring your screen up really quick. I'm going to bring it up because I had taken it off for a second. If you kind of look on the right side of the screen in the after section, right? Like he said, like the V2 accounts can have multiple configurations. So you can have a V2 account that's just the customer, or you can have a V2 account that's just a merchant, right? Or you can have a V2 account that's a merchant and a customer, right? So again, it just kind of depends on what's happening there. So Andrew, hopefully that answers your question. If it doesn't, definitely feel free to keep giving us comments and asking more questions if we can help clarify that a little bit more for you.
Yeah.
But as we go on, yeah, I don't think anyone else has any other questions. Oh, Maxim has one question here. I'm going to pull up Maxim really quick. It says, this will be useful when the platform wants to show the balance or send a payout to a connected account. So yeah, sure, right? If let's say me as a connected account, I am selling cookies and I'm buying cookies from another merchant as well. You know what I mean? And I'm sure I could use, make it a little bit easier just using my Stripe balance there. So
I actually love that Maxim said that, because we actually are using like the fact that we know when a connected account is also a customer in kind of our first product to be like the platform, the company for platforms with this feature called Stripe Balance Pay. you think it's worth talking about that right now?
Yeah, let's talk about Stripe Balance Pay. 'Cause that sounds
Yeah.
like that just naturally flows into, what some of these folks want to hear about.
Yeah. So, Maxim, to your point, a V1 account today has a balance. If you use Stripe, you know that a V1 account has a balance that you can check out that like kind of holds their funds that they've accepted from their customers. And so now, because we know for a fact which V1 account and V1 customer relates to the same user, we can actually use that for a platform and its merchant accounts as benefits. There's a feature that we've launched accounts V2 with called Stripe Balance Pay. What Stripe Balance Pay is, and maybe now is a good time to share my screen again.
Sure, sure.
All right. What Stripe Balance Pay is it's a way for Connect platforms to be able to charge their SaaS fees from their connected accounts using their connected accounts balance. And the benefit of that is that we know that network costs are super, super costly for everyone. We know that it costs a lot of money to accept card payments from customers or connected accounts, whoever's on your platform. You have to kick back a decent amount of that. But because we can just use the connected accounts balance without needing to go through a network to accept that SaaS fee, that subscription from your connected accounts, we can actually decrease the amount that it costs these platforms in their subscriptions and give them a bigger take of their overall SaaS fee. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And I think about it like this too. So I have a Stripe balance, like you mentioned, and typically today, what would have to happen is like I'd have to send that money to a bank account, right? Like I'd have to send it to a bank account or use my credit card or some other payment method, and so now, those entities are separate and like those transactions are happening separate. But if I actually wanted to pay you with the balance, like the profit or the money that's like being held in Stripe, I could just do that, right? And
Yeah.
I'm sure there's benefits there in terms of like speed of payments, the confidence of the transactions
Right.
actually being completed. Like there's tons of benefits that come from that, considering that we're all on Stripe and now it's a matter of, I'm sure this is not any insider trading, but like I'm sure at some point this is really just like a database entry or an API call, right? Versus like going all the way over to a bank or your credit card company to clear the money, right? Like we're just kind of moving things around here, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Platforms get to take home more of their SaaS fees, and like you said, the money is made like very, very quickly. If
Sure.
your connected account and your platform are in the same country, the money that gets paid to the platform is made available instantaneously. If it's cross-border, it's T+1 days.
Okay.
So super, super quickly.
Nice. And I think that's an important point that you just mentioned, right? So, Stripe Connect is not, region specific from the perspective of it supports tons of different locations, right? Not just United States, not just Europe, not just South America, right? Like this is a worldwide product. So you can essentially think about scaling your business across the borders. You can have franchises across the borders. You can have yoga studios and cookie stores and all
Right.
these type of things across the borders. And, Stripe Connect can help you, be a part of the solution for that.
No, that's it. That's exactly it. You nailed you what is it? Put the nail on the head?
Nail
Hit the
on the
nail on the head.
There you go. Vibhu, let's kind of move forward a little bit and talk about, let's say I'm already a Stripe customer and I am, I want to use Connect. I want to use Connect V2. What does it look like for me from a developer perspective to like integrate this? Like what exactly do I have to do? Two things. What do I have to do as a new customer to Stripe Connect? Or what do I have to do as a customer that's already using existing Connect objects, but I want to move over to, accounts V2? Like what does that look for me, from a developer perspective, trying to integrate that?
Yeah. So to get started, it's actually a very similar process for both new and existing users. We are collecting emails from folks who are interested in this. I'll share the doc that we're collecting these emails with a little bit later. But you essentially email us and you say, hey, like I'd love to try out Accounts V2. And we send you an invite. or we manually gate you into our preview. From there, the process bifurcates a little bit. If you're a new user, you'll go through normal Connect platform onboarding.
Mhm.
So you'll create your Connect account within Stripe, and you'll select all the options that are currently available for your preview. If you're an existing account, uh, your V1 accounts and your V1 customers will still be live. They'll still continue to work. But the next accounts that you create through your Connect platform will all be V2 accounts.
Okay.
And they will all accept payments as V2 accounts. They will all process money as V2 accounts, and you can use them across Stripe, as V2 accounts. What we've done to make sure that V2 accounts works for all of our users, both existing users and new users, is that it's actually very compatible with every V1 API at Stripe. And so you can start to integrate like multiple products together. Our big use case that we think V2 accounts is a great solution for right now, for example, is using Stripe Billing and Stripe Connect together. So you can start to pass your V2 accounts into our subscription APIs and our payment intents and setup intents APIs to start to collect payments from them and start to charge them SaaS fees.
Okay. So then, again, if I think about a V2 account, and let's say from the configuration of this V2 account just represents a customer, right? In this example. And so whenever, with SDKs and APIs and things of that nature that we offer, I can use a very similar set of properties, still create a customer, and then, whether it's payment intents or Stripe elements or Connect, hosted or not, or invoices or anything of the sort, I can still associate those things just in the same way with like a V1 account today, right? And so in essence, that really wouldn't change very much. So then that means today I could use the same, let's say we're talking about Python or Node or something like that.
Sure.
Like the SDKs today are already enabled to support these V2 accounts, or do I have to get gated into a different SDK or a different API to use those things?
So you'll need to be gated into the API to use them, but the SDK is actually available in a beta version that you can use, that you can add to your machine today. So as soon as you're gated into the API and your secret key essentially becomes enabled for the Accounts V2 API, your SDK is also good to go.
Nice. Okay. And then like you mentioned as well, so now other than customers, and now I actually want to enable a merchant, all of the typical, I want to say typical, but again, all of the regular onboarding for Connect that exists today for, I guess we can call them V1 Connect accounts. I'll go through onboarding, but instead, like, it'll create that V2 account for me instead. But I'm assuming the process is still similar, right? It's going to ask like business information, EIN numbers, addresses, all of the typical things that you want. Like it's not a different process per se, at least when it comes to onboarding. But instead it's just going to create like a different set of objects inside of my Stripe account to support like V2 semantics, I suppose.
That's exactly it. You hit the nail on the head. A lot of the V1 account stuff that folks may be used to is very similar on V2 accounts. There are definitely differences. Like we have tried to change the API shape to be more intuitive, change some of the fields to make more sense, but
Sure.
the traits and the properties that are available on V2 are very similar to the ones that are available on V1. And so the experiences are very similar as well for anybody who is joining a Connect platform. They still go through onboarding. You can still decide what kind of onboarding flow that they have, if you want a custom one or embed components onto your website, or just use a Stripe hosted dashboard, collect very similar information, and follow a very similar KYC process.
Nice. So another question coming in from YouTube, another one from Andrew, says, speaking of cross-border, are there considerations when using Stripe Connect in a marketplace that takes payments from different countries, i.e. a platform in Canada that has payers in USA or England?
I think no. If I'm understanding, Andrew, if I'm understanding your question correctly, You're basically asking if you have a connected account and your connected account is accepting payments from customers in different countries than where the connected account is based. Is that okay on V2? And the answer is yes. If you are a connected account that is a V2 account, you can accept payments from customers in every country that Stripe supports, for the general audience.
So yeah, Andrew, let us know if that answers your question. And anyone else too. Again, if you have questions you want to go ahead and have us answer for you live, like definitely feel free to go ahead. Andrew is saying, sorry, I meant if the platform country is different than the connected. So again, like he's asking if, I don't know, like platforms in the United States, connected account is in South America, right? Like, is there anything that you need to be concerned about, at least from the connect accounts perspective? Or, can I have connected accounts from any country that Stripe supports?
So you can have connected accounts in any country that Stripe supports, and you can have your platform in any country that Stripe supports, and you can have combinations of, platform is in one country, connected account is in another country. The only consideration to make is that cross-border payouts aren't supported yet on V2, right? So cross-border payouts essentially enable you to pay like folks on your platform within their local currency where their connected account may be based in. That isn't yet supported on Accounts V2. But in Accounts V2, your connected accounts can be based in a different country than your platform is based in, and they can accept payments from end customers in that currency just fine.
And also for folks that are watching, if it wasn't clear through the conversation that we're having, Accounts V2 is not generally available yet. Like it is in private preview. So, when Vibhu's talking about features that are not yet available, again, like, we are in the process of building out these features. Accounts V1 is still there. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's still there and you could use it. Like we're not going to delete all of your Account V1 accounts if anyone's concerned about that, right? But yeah, we are going to enable this new set of functionality. And like, again, like Vibhu mentioned, if you want to join the private beta, and I think he showed it a little bit earlier, there is a sign up form. You can opt into it and then you can have that enabled for your account, but it is a private beta. This is not a generally available thing. So that means that things are going to change, stuff's going to happen. New features are, consistently going to be added, based on feedback from customers and things of that nature. And of course, here comes this question. I was waiting for this one. Jonathan from YouTube is asking, when will V2 be generally available? So V2 specifically being Accounts V2, when would that be generally available?
Yeah, so assuming you mean Accounts V2 to use it for Stripe Connect and billing, there are two ways that you can get access to this. One is that you can sign up from our docs on the site, and I'm just going to show which doc specifically I'm referring to. So also you're going to see your face. Oh, no, actually, I'll be a little bit more specific with it.
Yeah, you can share the specific tab if you don't want to share the entire.
There we go. So this doc is available on the Stripe site today. If you go to docs.stripe.com/connect, and then you'll see this drop down here for integrate with Accounts V2. You can see this doc today and just enter in your email here. And if your account fits our private beta restrictions, and by fit, I mean, if your account isn't flagged as something that we don't yet support because of our current restrictions on the private beta, we'll send you an email saying, hey, we'd love to have you try out the new API. That's one way that you can join. The second way, and to this question, is stay tuned. General availability is definitely coming very, very soon.
So there you go. So, I take that to mean pay attention to, the YouTubes and the LinkedIns and all the social media things, because, there might be some, announcements coming up at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, great questions, folks. Definitely appreciate you all asking all of these, questions and stuff like that. Vibhu, do you have anything you could show us? Like, do we have any demos or anything that we could try out? let's say I'm already gated in and I want to try it out and I want to learn how this stuff works. I'm guessing there's like docs and maybe
Yeah,
samples and stuff like that that people can use.
no, definitely. So it depends on, I mean, Cecil, I could show like so much on this. There's so much cool stuff to show here. But why don't we just kick it off with this?
Okay.
So instead of trying to talk everybody through my shell and it may be a little bit hard to decipher and read, let's just show everybody what they can do. So if you get gated into Accounts V2, if you decide you want to join the private preview, you'll get access to a bunch more documents to help you build a Connect platform with billing using the new API. So this is just an example of like one of the first things in our integration guide that we recommend you do and we talk you through. Essentially, create your first connected account, your first V2 connected account. You could literally copy and paste this entire curl call once you get access to the API and send it into your shell, send it to the API, and see the response that you get back. And so what you'll see is you'll see a lot of the same things that we just talked about a couple of minutes ago. You'll see one identity field and a customer and a merchant configuration. So the same user that is both a merchant on your platform and is a customer that pays your platform a SaaS fee has one identity. So you don't need to, do any work on your end to tie those two objects together, to tie that user together on your end. We take care of it for you. And as we expand to new products, you'll be able to just plug and play this user, this account, this V2 account into every Stripe product that we have. And you'll see like a response that comes back kind of like this. It'll give you an ID with account underscore XXXXX, filled in with some numbers. It'll show you everything going on that account, like the capability that you turned on for that configuration, or the identity that's returned, the requirements that you get back in order to enable payment acceptance for that user. And Cecil, I got to be honest, like I think my favorite thing about Accounts V2, about the new object and API that we're doing, is that let's say you're a user and you go through Connect onboarding, right? So you go through the Stripe dashboard, you select, a couple of your favorite options to set up your Connect platform, and then you just run this one curl call that I have right here.
Okay.
This one curl call tells Stripe that you are trying to use 4 different Stripe products for that one connected account in just one call.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. You're turning on payments for that connected account to start accepting. You're turning on the ability to take in billing, right? So to collect SaaS fees from that connected account. Okay. You're turning on Stripe tax with this new capability that we have, automatic indirect tax here. And there was a 4th product also, and my mind just went blank. I hope this happens to other people also. Connect. Oh, and obviously Connect, billing, payments, tax. All in like 2 steps, essentially.
I know we don't, taxes are never like the super exciting thing to talk about. But when I think about the capabilities of Stripe Connect and having connected accounts in different regions and different locations, and having the ability to have Stripe tax on top of that, I think that's amazing, because having franchises, and again, having franchises even in different cities that have different tax laws, different countries that have different tax laws, like in my head, like that just sounds like a complicated thing to have to deal with.
So complicated.
And it's not like tax laws they're not static, right? Like they change with the government, right? Like they change with, with whatever financial body is dictating like what those things look like. Right. And so being able to just say, what does that say? Like automatic indirect tax, true. I'm done. Yep. My hands are up. I surrender. You know what I mean? And I just kind of let Stripe deal with it for me.
No, that's super real. Really, our goal with Accounts V2 is that we want to make it so fast and easy for people to go live with their business. Payments is hard. Payments are complicated. Yeah. And Stripe has done so much work over the decades to make that easier for people. And we would just want to make it even easier by being the fastest go-to-market product for developers.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Vibhu, this has all been amazing, man. do you have any? So let's say, okay, so we just watched this whole thing, right? Like we just learned about V2 accounts and some of the capabilities and some of the benefits that it's going to offer us. What do we do now? Like where, I don't know, like
Yeah,
how can you and I keep talking about it? Like,
right.
and you and I being like a customer, and yourself as a person that's like building out this product, how can I try it out? How could I share feedback with the team? Like how can I get involved with like what's happening in this space?
No, definitely. So there's a couple of different ways and a couple of different asks that I have to the developers that are watching this. One is we would love to hear your feedback on this new API shape. I cannot tell you how many hours we have spent agonizing over developer feedback as we're constructing this new API because we want this to be really, really good for all of you.
Mhm.
So go to that doc that I showed you, type in your email, and wait to get an invite essentially to this API. We'll try to be as quick about it as we can. Right? And then from there, play around with the API. If not, build your Connect platform using that API. Right? Turn on Stripe billing, turn on Stripe tax, allow your connected accounts to accept payments, and then email us at accounts-v2-support@stripe.com and tell us your feedback. Let us know, like, what do you like, what do you not like about this thing? We would love to hear it. We may even, over the next couple of months, I was telling Cecil this, that we have started reaching out to users who are already using Accounts V2 to get their input. And that's been influencing our future versions that we've been putting out of the API, the input that we receive from users who have already been using this. So please, we would love to hear more. And we'd love to help you build out your Connect platform, your integration on V2. We've already been helping a couple of users. We'd love to keep helping out users throughout the year.
Awesome. So again, remember, folks, head over to Stripe Docs. You see like the little sign up form. Go ahead and check it out. And I believe you or some of your teammates, you're also going to be in Stripe sessions as well, right?
We're going to be there. We're excited to see you all.
Awesome. So I'm guessing the team might have like a booth or maybe some breakout sessions at sessions, right? And even just kind of like be floating around. So again, if you're an existing customer, if you're Stripe interested, if you're just interested in learning about V2 accounts and how that stuff works, again, check out the docs, come hang out with us at Stripe sessions, and definitely you'll be more than like full of all of the amazing stuff. Oh, and try out the training. Remember, we just had Jono. Jono was here.
Yeah, try out the training. I want to try out the training.
Yeah, like if there's going to be a Connect edition or version of the training that's there, that's available.
Yeah.
So again, if you want to start building in Connect integrations into some of the stuff that you're doing for your company, I think it's obvious where you need to be for sure. So with that being said, Vibhu, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for all that have been here watching us. We do Stripe office hours on Wednesdays. We will not be here next Wednesday, but we will be here the Wednesday after that. So definitely stay tuned. Stay tuned to the Stripe Developers YouTube channel. Stay tuned to the Stripe Developers LinkedIn page, and just kind of look out for announcements as we, kind of put things out. But thank you again for watching, and we'll see you all again next time. Bye, everybody.